to be able to get that done there, okay? All right, so let's talk about this real quick. This was the question. I'm about ready to show you a rubric of how you would grade, okay? Based on the AP exam. I want you to grade your own, okay? As a class, as a group, okay? As a group, I want you to grade. So here we go. Let's get started. Part A. Let me show you what you're graded on, okay? First thing, and I'll blow this up real quick. The first thing you're going to be looked at is how did you do the stem plot? So as long as you did the stem plot, it does not have to be in order here, but you need to make sure you have something that looks like stem and leaf plot, okay? Also, you have to make sure that you have some sort of key that's on the side. So you had to represent something that stated, and by the way, this is called what?
Context.
That's context. Good, Jared. Okay. So when we look at the context, we have to have a key there that basically represents what that means, okay? If you just put 1-2, that's not enough. You also have to tell me what it represents, okay? And it doesn't have to be the exact words, but just make sure you put context there, that it means 12 questions that were correct, okay? All right, if you did that on part A, I want you to give yourself an E, okay? If you forgot the key, you just messed that up, give yourself a P. And if you messed both parts up, maybe you just didn't even, you're like, I don't know, okay? Give yourself an I, okay? Right there, first part. E, P, and I. Let's go to part B, okay? We're going to move this up. Part B says this. It asks to describe the most striking difference, okay? How many of you did socks of some kind? Y'all did socks, okay? If you did socks, you could still get this right, but let's read what they said. It said the most striking feature of the plot is that the scores clusters into two groups, one concentrated on the mid-teens and the other in the high 30s. There are no scores in the 20s, okay? All right? So here's the deal. There are two parts with this. You needed to state that it was either bimodal or had two clusters, all right? You needed to state that. That would be in the shape. If you're kind of questioning like where that would be mostly in the shape describing that, okay? So you needed to say that there were two clusters. You also needed to say that there were no scores in the 20s. Okay? Does anyone know what that would go underneath?
Outliers.
Outliers. It's really not an outlier, though that's true. We call that an unusual feature. Okay? It's kind of a little weird. You say, Coach, how did I know to do that? Just by doing problems like this over and over again. Okay? So here's the deal. If you got both of them, give yourself an E. If you got 1 out of 2, give yourself a P. And if you got none of them, give yourself an I. Okay? That's part 2. Part 3. You needed to say something about this measure of center, how it wasn't enough. Did anyone put down an answer? It's probably the toughest one. Why is the measure of center not good, Eric?
I just said because there's like a wide range of scores on the test, so the center doesn't accurately depict all the scores.
You hear that? The center does not depict the accurate scores within this because of the two clusters, right? The center is right in the middle, but they have two clusters. It's not representative of what's actually happening, okay? So because of that, we would say, it's exactly it. It says this, a measure of center might fall between the two groups. It would not indicate that students tended to score either very well or very poorly on exams. On this one, unfortunately, it's either an E or an I, okay? If you said something along those lines, that's an E. If you were like, man, I was not even close, that would be more of an I, okay? All right? Are y'all familiar with how this is graded? Have y'all done other ones like this before? Okay. So if you got 3 E's, this is how it works. If you got an E, E, and E, give yourself a 4. Any 4s in the house? Okay, gotcha. If you got an E, E, and P, give yourself a 3. Any 3s in the house? Good job, group. That's good. Good team. What about E, P, P? That's a 2. Or you could got a E, E, and I. That'd be a 2. I think that's it. And then a 3 P's would be a 1. And then anything else would be a 0. Okay? Cool? How many of you got a, and that's okay, we're all a team together. I just want to know. How many got a 3? How many got a 2? A lot of 2s out there. Yeah, I got 2 2s. How many got a 1? Okay, and how many of you got 0? That's okay. What was yours? What was yours? E-I-I? That's a 1. That's a 1. Yeah. E-I-I. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If you look at this, you'll understand, like, This is a process. Okay? Repeat. I want you to say process. Process. This is not a one-time boom, you got it, good, now let's take the AP exam. Okay? But I want you to at least at this first time understand that this is how you will be graded both on tests and also on anything in terms of an AP level. Okay? All right. So with that being said, let's get this started. I think I've got everything. Oh yeah, and while I go to this first thing, we're going to go to our notes. One thing I will tell you is if I hear someone come up to me again and say, "Where's the bread aisle?" I promise I'm going to get really upset. All right? You know what I'm saying, Rita? Because everyone thinks I'm a Publix manager right now. It's a little disappointing and a little disheartening, Tony, for people to say that about me. And so, just one of those things, I guess. If y'all get an 85 average or above, I promise I will go into Publix. I should do this anyway, and act like I'm a manager and just see what we can do and help out people and
You
go
have
from
to
there.
make sure you get us the 85 average.
I will.
Get
My class average is 86 right now.
We'll get it and go. All right. Hey, as we get started today, we're going to take some notes. The way we do notes is a little different. I'm going to give you a packet that looks like this for almost every notes. The reason why I do this is it relates a lot with the where we're attacking, where we're going. Okay. Very interactive. This is very interactive. Some are more interactive than others. Today is a little bit more kind of as we approach it, how we do it, how we go and attack the problem as much as an actual activity like we did on our first day. But nonetheless, we're going to attack this and we're going to go forward, okay? All right, section 1.3a, and we're going to do this one, and then tomorrow we'll do 1.3b. All right, the data that I want you to record are the number of colleges that you're applying to, which are these right here. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see these? I hope so. 449, 5510. I want you to just put all of these down. 763. 7104. And while you're doing that, I want you to get out your calculator for me. So you're going to record those here. And on your calculator, you're going to do this. Now, did anyone have problems trying to average out and find the medians of different numbers by hand? It can be kind of annoying, right? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to find both the median and mean from our calculator, okay? Mean and median. All right, tell you what, while you're writing those down, can someone tell me when we use mean
We're not going to fit them all, are we?
compared to when we use median?
I'm not talking to you.
When do we use mean over median?
Mean is used when it's like approximately.
Good, Eric. And when is someone else tell me when do I use median? Torrance.
When it's skewed.
Yeah, skewed, right? So when it's a skewed graph, we use median, and if it is approximately normal, we're going to use mean. Okay? All right, so just a heads up on that. It's important. So when we find these two, we're going to use our calculator to do that. So take out your calculator, and you're going to go to stat here. Stat edit. Okay? Now, if you have something in the list 1, there's an easy way to get rid of that by just going up to the top of L1, pressing clear, and then just coming back down, and that just clears the whole list. If that's and time is very precious on an AP exam, so that's a good tool there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in the following values. So 449, 5, 5, 10. Man, 10 schools, that's a lot. 15 schools is even more. You're going to be writing a lot of essays. That's good right there. Good. So we got that list 1. Okay, we're just putting them in. Does anyone know how to find what mean and median? Any thoughts, Fiona? Do you remember?
It was one of the I want to say it's math or something.
It's
like
bars.
calc,
Close.
or yeah.
So let's quit. Let's just get out, just so we're a blank screen. And then I want you to go back to stat again. Okay? There you are. Because we just put it in edit, right? So it makes it easy. If you go over to the calculate button and just go over to 1 var stats, does anyone know what var means? Variable, right? So 1 variable stats or 1 var stats, we press enter. And as long as the list is L1, your frequency list should just be blank, okay? And then this should have been on your calculator part that we did. We just press calculate and there we go. All right? Does anyone know, just for a ticket, what would be mean here? Wayne.
The first one, X bar.
X bar, yeah, that's kind of the gangsta symbol for mean, okay? All right, so X bar is mean, 7.3 is our mean, so we're going to write that down, okay? Got 7.3. And our median, if you scroll down there, it's 7, yeah, I like that, 7. Okay. Now what I want to do is, as we go down here, let's answer these together and see if we can figure these out together, okay? What is the range of this data? I think it's 12, right, Charles? Did you see that? I heard someone else. I think it's 12, right? So I want you to write down in that next spot that range is 12. Now I'll tell you right now, out of everything we've talked about so far, what I'm about ready to tell you is very important, okay? Very important. Like golden nugget important, all right? Today's lesson is extremely, extremely important. We're going to talk about this thing called standard deviation. And next to it, I want you to put something that just tells me that this is talking about spread, okay? Now we've already talked about spread. What have we already used for spread so far? What have we used for spread? If I said socks, what would you use? Range, right? Y'all have already done that, right? So we've already talked over that, but we're going to give this other value called standard deviation, okay? We will use this all year long. Very, very important. As we look at this, though, let's see why we use it. Why is the range not always the entire story? Why do we use something else? Why is range sometimes not a good value to be able to
Be
use?
an outlier.
Okay, an outlier? Actually, I never thought of that. Who said Rita and Jared? That's a good word. Can someone tell me something else why that would be the case? Yeah, Claudia.
Well, kind of similarly, like with the last one, there was 2 clusters, so if you have a range, it kind of implies that there's none the range rather than like the 2 clusters.
That's a beautiful response. That's exactly right. When you look at it, range only depicts the ends, right? Does that make sense? Do you have any idea of what's happening in the middle? No, right? So you could say something along the lines of, it's not really, actually I want my definition. What does it say? Focuses only on the minimum and maximum. So it only focuses on min and max. Okay? All right, I'm going to give you the answer first. Is that cool? What is standard deviation? You need to know this definition, okay? You need to know this. Standard deviation is, and I'll actually write this here, the average distance from the mean. The average distance, each value is from the mean. The average distance, each value is from the mean. Okay? All right, so question. Fiona, what does standard deviation mean?
The average distance from the
You rock. Nicely done. Charles, what does standard deviation mean?
The average distance from the mean.
Nice. Average distance from the mean, right? Hannah, what does standard deviation mean?
average distance from
Nicely done. I like it. Ivana, what is standard deviation?
The average distance from the mean.
Nice. You sounded so excited. I'm going to put you on that job, okay? All right. So what that means is this. Anytime I ask, what is the standard deviation? I am looking at you. Got me, Ivana? And you will remember. We all remember, okay? Huge definition. All right? If I fall, don't laugh. This is a huge definition. Huge definition. All right? I'm telling you, if I have a job for someone just to say that, there's a reason for it, okay? So you need to know that. If you were going to get a tattoo of something this year, that needs to be it. Write that definition down, okay? Serious. If we all get a 5, I will get it. No, I will not get a tattoo. I'm joking. I'm messing with that. All right, so that's where we're at. Questions? Okay, cool. All right, let's go to the next thing, because now we're going to actually find what is this thing and how do we find it. So in order to do this, we're going to complete this table, okay? We're going to complete the table. Now, we have 3, 6, 9, 10 of them. I think we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, okay? If you need some more space on this, that's absolutely fine, okay? Absolutely fine. I'm going to kind of attack it this way and make sure that we're good to go kind of downward. The first thing we're going to do when we find this is to just list all the values, okay? list all the values. So on this one, we're going to list 4, 4, 9, and we're going to find the standard deviation of this mess. So 4, 4, 9, 5, 5, 10, and so on and so forth. I want you to list those values, okay? Now, you won't have to do this every time on an AP exam, but I need you to know the background of this. Jared?
If they don't fit, do we just keep going? You said.
You could keep going, that's fine. I know that that's not clean. I apologize for that. It's hot in here, isn't it? I feel like I'm burning up. I also get moving, I get excited. So we're going to put all those down. We go 4. Do this. Perfect. Put this up. Perfect. Okay, got that. Delete this. That way we've got it all here together. So we're just going to, again, write them down. 4, 4, 9, 5, 5, 10, 10, 15, 10, 7, 6, 3, 7, 10, 4. Okay. Is everyone good? If you're good, say uh-huh. Okay, now again, this is a mundane process, but I need you to understand the process one time. We will do it, and then we won't ever have to do this again in terms of it long like this. But you need to understand why we're getting there, okay? The background's huge here. Now, in order to find the distance from the mean, can someone just explain to me, someone stand up and boldly tell me what we do next? Stand up. With pride. For 3 tickets. Fiona, go ahead.
Don't you just subtract the value from the mean?
Bingo. Yeah, we subtract the mean from
Bingo.
each of those values. Go right ahead. In your group, do it. What's the mean again? 7.3. Can we do something just a little bit easier? Can we just make that 7? Make that 7 just so that you kind of make it a little easier on yourself.
Just do my tickets.
Make it 7.
One more ticket.
Thanks.
Oh.
I didn't mean to embarrass you. I hope that's okay. All right. So we're going to go to this next one. Some of you already know what you're doing. If you want to keep trying, keep going. I'm fine with that. By the way, some of these are going to be negative, right? So be careful on that. So like 4 would be -3 and so on and so forth. Just be careful of that. All right, check me on that, because sometimes I can go too quick. All right, so the blue is the numbers that when we subtract the mean is where we're at. But remember, what is standard deviation, Fiona? I mean, wrong one. Vanna, wrong job. Average distance from the mean. Good. So because it's the average distance from the mean, right now we are going to take the average. If I took the average of these blue numbers, what would be the problem with that? Let me say that again. If I took the average of the blue numbers, what would be the problem with this right now? Good. What would be the average, Tony? 0, because they're both on equal sides of both negative and positive. You see that? So I can't quite do the average of this. So we have to make these values all positive. And I do that by doing what? Squaring it. Y'all are rocking. So let's square -3 to get 9, and then you keep going. You keep going. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm interested. When I saw you yesterday writing the formula for this, I think. Were you doing that? No? Could be wrong. Could be wrong. So what do I do with the red numbers now? Now we can take the average, right? Because now we're speaking the same language. So we're simply going to take the average of the red numbers, okay? So if you have any question, what could I do in order to find the average quickly? calculator, L1, right? Just plug these values in for L1 and get those out. Go right ahead and then help us out there, whoever gets that on that spot. Again, you'll find the average that's there. While you're doing that, I'm going to put this data in here real quick. For me, not memories may have. Perfect. Got that there? Anybody get a number? What did we get, Claudia?
10.4.
10.4? Good. Good stuff. So I want you to put 10.4 down here. Okay?
10 points.
Okay?
10 points.
And then I want you to hold on to that because I want to show you something here. As I begin this analysis here, you're going to recognize a couple things. Is there anything else that we needed to do? Did everyone get 10.4? Yeah?
Wouldn't you like square root it? Because what you got was like the square of all of it.
Bingo, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You've got to square root it. So yes, 10.4 is the average, but why do you square root it? Because you already had squared it earlier. Y'all follow me on that? We squared it because of the fact that we had negative and positive, but when you square it, you have to be able to come back and get that there. So square root it and we get what? 3.2. I want you to circle that, and I want you to put standard deviation. Okay? Ivana for 2 tickets. Okay? If you want Coach Jay to have the best day of his life, you got this. Okay? What does 3.2 mean? Got it.
It's the
Good. So 3.2 is the average distance from the mean. Now give me some context. You got it.
according to the data.
Wait, you're right. You rock that. What are we talking about?
The number of colleges that we're applying to.
Oh man, give her a hand. Give her a hand. Give her a hand. I'll tell you what. That right there, that's. I'm gonna have the best day of my life today. Just know it. You're exactly right. 3.2, and that's it. Okay. All right. How many of you think I'm overreacting? Don't put your hand up, Fiona. It's not. All right. So as we look at this, if I said here's a dot plot, okay, which it is, this is the dot plot of what we just did, okay, and I was to put this down here, I want someone to then say, if I said describe this, how would you describe it? This is a side note. It's not on your sheet. How would you describe it? Someone stand up boldly and proclaim it for 3 tickets. How would I describe it?
Ivana, do it.
Ivana's on the
got
roll
it.
right now. Yes!
No balls.
I'm so sick.
Yes!
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's okay.
I love it.
So, according to the data,
There's a hole in your shirt.
it's actually not a hole. My phone's in there. The spread is bimodal, technically. Say yes.
Okay, so the shape, right? The
Yeah,
shape is
shape.
the shape is
I meant to say
bimodal.
shape.
That's great. It's bimodal. So
Yeah.
you got that. What
Yeah.
else?
There's an outlier at 15.
Would you agree?
Yes.
I think that's good. Yeah. Where's the center?
Listen. Can we say it's like?
Do I care which one you use here? Nah, I
No,
don't, because
they're
it's kind
close,
of,
they're close.
you could defend that it's
It's
kind of
a-
skewed. It's also could be kind of approximately normal. In that situation, go with it and go. Okay? So the center would either be 7.26 or 7. Cool?
Okay.
All right, keep going. You got it?
And the spread is 15 minus 3, so it's 12.
12. What other thing could I use for spread?
The standard deviation.
Standard deviation, which we
is
found
what,
was
Ivana?
3.2-ish, right? Ish. Good. And I know this is a little different because we, remember we rounded, right? Okay. Good. And there's one thing that she's missing. You rock that. Someone else stand up and just tell me what she's missing. She rocked it. One thing. I think she got that. I think she got the range. She got socks. She did that perfect.
Use it.
Thank you. Hey, Grace. Context. Give me a little context on this. What are we talking about?
According to David's
Yeah,
That's
according
it.
to David.
Hey, listen, if you get, how many of you hate context already? Don't raise your hand, that's awful. Because you got, that's serious. I know, everyone did. I thought it'd be like one person, and y'all are really confident with that. Like too confident, it's kind of creepy, alright? What I would do is I would start with it every time. So you get it out of the way if you hate it, because that's sometimes I don't like it all the time. Just start with that. So just say, before we go to SOX, just say, when we talk about the amount of colleges that third period statistics applied to, we found that, then go into SOX. Does that make sense? That way you hit it, you're done, you don't have to worry about it, okay? Because what will happen is you'll do SOX, you'll forget, okay? You'll forget on that, all right? And especially, guess what socks I wore today? Just for today. You ready? You ready for this? Y'all got to see my sock game now, I'm telling you. You got to see my sock game. Come on now. What we got? Oh, little Michigan action. So just a heads up. My special socks for sock day. All right. So that's where we're at. That's for you, Ryan. That's for you.
Okay, I have my own socks too.
I'm sure you do.
I'm
sure you do. You probably will. Yeah. Wrong socks. That's what I would put. All right. So question 6. We're on to question 6. And actually, before I get there, let me also go over the formula. You ready? You want me to tell you the formula? You ready for this? It's the sum. Let me get a different color here. Hopefully you can see this. It's the sum, that's what that means, of x minus the mean squared divided by n in the square root of it. Actually, backtrack. I forgot to put the square root needs to go outside. Okay?
Oh, shoot.
That looks complicated, but that's the formula that you're going to need on this, okay?
I thought we were done with sigmas and x squared.
Did you watch the podcast?
And in fact, I've got it better. I think I've got it better over on this side. Right on over here.
Please.
Hold on. Anyway, you're good. I'll keep it right there.
Was there really like
Okay. Now this formula, do you have to memorize it? No. Because when you went to one variable statistics, okay, when you go there, I'm going to show you where you can find it. You need to know how you got there, but you don't need to get there by doing what we just did. If you go to one variable statistics, do you see this thing called 3.21? That's our standard deviation. So I want everyone to go like this. Okay?
Got him.
This is our team symbol. All right? This is our standard deviation symbol. You see someone in the hallway who's AP Stats, freak your friends out. Okay? Seriously, do it. All right. Standard deviation.
Sign, gang.
Yes.
What kind of gang is that?
Hey, we'll go with it. Number 6. Here we go. We forgot to add Coach J. Okay. I got turned down by so many schools. I applied to 30 colleges when I was going through.
Is that for real?
Okay.
Really? For
And
real?
I'm your teacher.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, right there.
Stop lying.
30 colleges. So if I added 30 to my list, okay, it's not funny. It's really not funny.
That's a big
I ended up at my college, Shorter University. It's a true story. I went to Shorter University.
Shorting?
Shorter university.
Charles, that's not funny. Okay? 30 colleges. The question that I have is this. What would that do to this data?
Changed a
That's
lot.
a big
Skew it.
outlier.
Okay, let's talk through this because this is very important. If we added that, how could we compare to the original measures? So let's talk about this first. We had a couple measurements, right? We had median, we had mean, we had range, and we also had standard deviation, right? Right? Okay, so question. When we look at this, which would be impacted the most by the 30?
The
range.
Grace, I saw you first.
Range.
The range, okay, I like that. The range would be?
27.
27.
What else would be impacted?
The mean.
Mean.
Actually everything.
I
Well,
would
the
say the
median
mean
really-
would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Would the median?
No.
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 No, it wouldn't, right? Because the median is the middle number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if I have an outlier and I find the middle number, it might be affected a little because we added another value, but if it's the middle, it wouldn't be. So which would be impacted? I would say the mean and the range. Okay? And the standard deviation, I would say those 3. I would also put the fact that median, we'll call that resistant to outliers. You need to put that down. And what that means is, if I have, think about it, makes sense. Because if I have skewed data and I have an outlier out there, right? What do we use? We use median. Why do we use median? We use median because it's resistant to outliers. If you're good, say uh-huh. Mean is not, right? Mean is not resistant. If you throw an outlier in there of 30, is that going to increase my mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Would that impact my range?
Yes.
Yes. Would that impact my standard deviation?
Yes.
Yes, it would. Okay? Questions on that? Okay. I just want to make sure I got everything, so I want to make sure I hit boom, boom, boom. Good. All right. Y'all understand the formula?
Yes.
How many of you do not understand the formula? Let's be real. How many of you don't get that? Because you're going to see this on here, and I completely understand. It's tough. It's very tough. This formula, let's talk through why this is the case, okay? Could someone explain to me, just break it down, start here and explain to me how I got here based on what I did on this side?
Well, we got the difference for the difference from the mean. We subtracted.
Okay? Yeah, because what's x bar again, Josh?
That's mean.
Good, so we take each value and we subtract the mean by it, right? Which is what we did in here. What did I do
We
next?
squared it. So
Why
they're
do I square it
positive.
again?
They're positive.
So they're all
So when you
positive.
average them out, it's not 0.
Perfect. And then what does the sigma represent?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just the sum of everything, right? That just makes sure that all of the x's are added together, right? This is just a complicated way of saying we average them together. So we add all of them up, we divide by the total number n, right? Keep going, and then why do I square root?
So we can get it back to the way it was because we squared it because it was. Yeah, we have to undo the square basically.
Perfect. Did y'all get that? Okay? Did y'all get that, Eric? Did that help better? So here's the deal. You don't need to memorize this. Maybe be familiar with it because that's really where we're at. But as long as you're there, I'm good to go on that. Okay? I got tickets for it. Okay. What's the next question? What's number 7? Does it go to the next box? Is that where we're at? Okay. The box. I like the box because this is our golden nugget. I called it our golden nugget box. I like to do this. Basically, it allows me to see the big ideas. What did we just learn? Okay. First thing is this. What's the definition of standard deviation, Ivana? Good. If you need to write that down, put it again. But the definition is the average distance from the mean. You need to know that. Okay. Also, make sure you have the formula. It should be right above there. You should have already gotten that. But make sure that you got the formula down. Okay. All right, so here's the thing. We have 2 things. We talked about this idea of if it's approximately normal, okay? This represents like the shape of what a dot plot would be if it was symmetric or approximately symmetric, okay? And then we have this other thing where we have it skewed to the, what is it called? Skewed to the, right? Good. How do we remember that, Fiona?
So
Big toe.
The toe, yes. Like, that's the big toe, right? Cool. And that's skewed to the left. Okay, so if we have skewed, we will use what type of values? We already said one of them. Median and range. Is range impacted by outliers? We already said yes it is, but in comparison to standard deviation, it's not as much as standard deviation, okay? So let me say that again. If it's skewed, we use range as my spread and median as my center. Okay? So what would that mean if we have approximately normal? Standard deviation, which is our gang sign, okay? Right there. And then also the what? The mean, which is the same as x bar, okay? All right? Does anyone have questions on that? So if I get a skewed data, a skewed dot plot, and again, sometimes it's subject to what you think, and that's okay. Sometimes it could be both. But if it's approximately normal, we're doing standard deviation and mean. Standard deviation for spread, good Fiona, and then mean is obviously the center. And then range and median would be my skewed. Okay? Cool? All right, we did the standard deviation job. We already said Ivana's the one. Nicely done. It's a big job right there. Big job. All right, question. Here we go. How many of you, we're going to label this A, B, C, and I want you to choose which one has the smallest standard deviation. Oh, no, larger. Which has the largest standard deviation? Okay, I want you right now in your groups, I want you to come up with one. Go. And why? Which has the larger standard deviation?
Okay.
This is a test question.
I think it's G.
This is a test question, okay? This will be on your test, 100%.
C. Wait.
It's either C or A.
How we doing on time? We
Oh,
get out
hey.
at 10,
The average is not that one bar.
10:05. Perfect.
All
Yeah.
of it is like not
Yeah,
independent.
it's C, A.
It's A.
All right, I want you to confidently right now, in your seat, if you say the largest standard deviation is A, I want you to stand up. Be confident.
Yeah, I'm
Be
so
confident.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
just,
I like that, Josh. Confidence. Good. All right, have a seat. How many of
Okay.
you say B? Be confident. Just stand up and you want to.
That's so wrong.
You're standing up there, Torrance?
Oh,
Torrance is standing up. Nicely done. All right, have a seat there, Torrance. Appreciate that. And how about C? Stand up. All right, have a seat.
Josh, it's A.
The majority of the class
Got it wrong.
is 100%. 1,000%. Absolutely correct.
Good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are correct.
give us
And here's the reason why. Okay? Well, I'll ask you why. Claudia.
Claudia
Um,
told us.
Well, I personally, I said C because it looked like it had the biggest, like range, but in the sense that it's like the biggest distance between what would be considered the mean. Like, no calculations, but like, you can clearly tell where the mean will fall, and that has a greater distance.
That's awesome. Yeah. As we look at this, you'll notice that this right here is the center-ish, right? As we look at that, where's the majority of the data? I want everyone to go like this, okay? That means it's on the outside, okay? That means if the furthest data is outside of the mean, that means it'll have the largest standard deviation. Which would have the smallest?
A.
I was close.
Hold up.
Wait, no.
Where's most of the data here? Closer to the mean. Therefore, this would have the smallest, and this would have the largest. Cool. Hey, have a great day. See y'all. Y'all rocked it.
Thank you.
I just wanted to get that out. Ivana, thanks for letting me do that. That was good.
Oh, let's go, bro.
I'm gonna be
You gotta go to my elementary kids. Oh my gosh, my
7:45, Coach Jay.
What is it?
7:45, I'll be here. Right early.
I like it.
I would be here at 7:30, but I didn't get my Chick-fil-A, you know, I wake myself up.
I understand.
Anytime I go to help session like early, I get Chick-fil-A just to reward myself for going in early.
And that pay is very expensive.
But then I get like a
100%. 100%, Jerry. See you, dude. See y'all. See you, Emily. See you, Claudia. See you, Charles. Hey, see you. Have a good one, Tony. See you, Torrance. Elijah? This is fourth? Is that right? Sorry, man. Sorry about that. Almost took a charge on me. What's up, y'all? What's up, Emma? What's up, Savannah?
How's y'all's day so far? Good.